question. Okay, so I'm pretty fascinated with the carbon dating thing because that's
Yeah.
So, and the test was from the outside, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
The edges, yeah.
This is such an important. You would agree this is a very important relic or
piece of history. Human history.
And the Christian church, which used to control the Western civilization as we know it.
Yeah.
Why is there not an effort? This is a challenge in a non-aggressive way. Why hasn't there been some willingness to go into the center of the shroud and cut a piece big enough to do a carbon dating test? That's my big concern as to why it's such an important relic, such an important thing to Christianity. It's like they're not willing to do that. They don't want to do that because there's the risk of it coming back again saying it's from the Middle Ages.
I don't think that that's the concern. I understand why people would think that would be the concern. It's really, the concern is quite political. And some of it goes back to all of the drama that surrounded the 1988 dating, which was people argued about who the samples belonged to, where they were supposed to go, who had the right to actually cut the samples from the shroud. So there was a lot of internal arguing. And so on the one hand, I don't blame the Catholic Church for being hesitant to just let any old scientist walk in there and cut another piece off. Because the truth is that if you're going to do another carbon dating test, you're going to have to take a piece from a spot that's
a significant position.
Right. Yeah. Fortunately, the dorsal image, I think, would be a good option for that. If the dorsal image maybe is not, it's possible maybe it could be more contaminated than the front side. Then again, the front side has probably been handled more than the dorsal image. But you would almost certainly, you would want to get a clean piece from a part of the cloth where there is no image and where there is no blood. And then you would want to get a piece as well from the image itself. And that's the really controversial part is you want to cut a piece off of this miraculous image of Jesus. Now, personally, I mean, I'm a believer in the shroud. I think that God gave it to us so that we could do tests on it and put God to the test in a sense in that way. But it's still very sensitive. It's like, who's going to do this? And believe me, there are people who request the privilege to do this all the time.
I can only imagine.
And they're working on it. I think it's going to happen eventually, but it's just going to take time to make those connections.
This is one of those things which seems pretty straightforward on the surface, but when you delve into the politics and all the other layers of this is a very complex issue that basically could the extremes of it could undermine the Christian church in the Western Hemisphere.
It could upend understanding of humanity.
It could. Of course, on the other hand, if it did if the test came back and proved that it was much older than what it is put forth with carbon dating from the 80s or whatnot, then it would be a huge boost to Christianity, I think.
Well,
there really is, in my opinion, there's too much at stake to test it in this way. There's too much at stake, and the agnostic or the anti-Christian person would say that the Catholic Church has too much to lose to test it the way I'm talking about. I'm being real blunt here.